Hi, I'm Craig Rowland, founder of Sandfly Security. In today's video, I'm going to describe to you an attack which we call duplicate password hashes on Linux and what it means in terms of detecting compromised systems that might be operating on your network. For the demonstration today, we're going to start off in the Sandfly UI. Sandfly is an agentless endpoint detection and response product. We also do SSH key tracking, password auditing, drift detection, and more. But for today's demonstration, we're going to scan a host here and we're going to find that we have a problem. The victim host is here called Sandfly Victim, and we've discovered that we have user password hash duplicates. What does this mean? Well, we're going to give you two examples here. User A and user B have been flagged with this particular problem. We give you a description that says a username, user A, has an identical password hash with those in the username list, user A and user B. Password hashes in Linux are generated with a unique random salt value, even if the passwords in the hash are the same. The fact the user shares an identical password means they were manually inserted, bypassing normal password generation procedures. Essentially, on Linux, when you generate a password, it always puts on it what's called a salt. This is prepended to the hash, which I'll show you here in a moment. That salt value is then mixed with the password hashing algorithm with your password, and that makes it so that even if you use the same password on many user accounts, the hashes always look different. This prevents something called a rainbow table attack, which is too much to get into this video today, but it essentially makes it much harder for an attacker to run an easy password brute force against password hashes if they're grabbed off a host. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like on the actual terminal. So I'm on my system here. This is a Raspberry Pi that we scanned today. And I'm going to cat out the Etsy shadow file. Now we see here these password hashes for three users, one called Pi, which I'll talk about in a moment, and then these two here, user A and user B. If you look carefully at these password hashes, you'll see they are identical. And this should not happen on Linux. Password hashes should not be identical between users. The only reason why they would be identical is if someone manually edited the Etsy shadow file, or as we've seen at Sandfly, Linux malware has inserted multiple backdoor user accounts using the same password hash because that's just what the script is designed to do. Now, interestingly, these users all have the same password. I gave them a password here that's identical. This one here, though, you can see that the password hash is significantly different from this account, even though they all use the same password. You can also see here between these two dollar signs is what was called the password salt. And you can see here, these password salts are the same, which again, should never happen if you're using a proper change password function on Linux. Now, what this is what we at Sandfly call a dormant attack. Now, we differentiate dormant versus what we call active attacks at Sandfly because this is a unique perspective of looking at a Linux box. An active attack is something that's happening in memory right now, typically a process or something that's going on that's very suspicious. This is an example of what we call a dormant attack. This is something that was changed on the system, but is not active in memory. And in fact, it'd be very hard to detect from a typical EDR product because this is just sitting there waiting to be used. It's not actually in use right now. And this is, though, something very important to look for because these types of attacks can be done to systems and just sit there quietly for months, maybe even years at a time. So the duplicate password hashes are a very high indicator that something has happened to this box that we don't want to see happen. This box would require a full incident response at this point to find out why it was that this happened, who might have done it, or what might have done it on the box. So anyway, that's a quick review of basically duplicate password hashes, just one of the many things we look for in Sandfly. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check your systems for this type of activity because if you see it, sure enough, you're likely going to have a system that's compromised. So I'm Craig Rowland from Sandfly. Thanks again for watching. Check out our other videos for other short topics on Linux incident response and forensics. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again, and bye.